Hi everyone. Today I'm getting off my schedule a little bit to share with you a little bit about myself and the attachment I have to a certain brand that means so much to me as a parent. We'll get back to our regular schedule where I will be reviewing the makeup and cosmetic contents from the Look Fantastic Laura Mercier box. But today I just wanted to do this because tomorrow my kids are going back to school, and that is the first time in a year and a half that my kids go back to a building to go to school, and sending them off will be an event. It will be a time in our lives that is meaningful because it will be a time where my teenagers or soon-to-be teenagers are actually going to go back to real life, where adventure, all the tribulations, positive and negative things happen out there, not just here in the protection of our home. And I want to send them out prepared to the world. I think that is one wish that most parents would have. But I do send them out with a bittersweet feeling that I have had them here for a year and a half, and I was protecting them and I cared for them. But it's time for them to go out there and be the human beings they're supposed to be. So as this day approaches, it brings back the memories of a specific writer, not a book so much, but a writer that played an important role in my son's development. When he was 6 years old, we as a family got divorced, and I all of a sudden became a single mom. And somebody mentioned it in passing, this poem by Rudyard Kipling. The poem is called If, and the poem serves as a guideline of what it is that makes a good man. And having grown up just with girls, I have sisters, and without the presence of my father, my parents got divorced when I was 8, and my father was there, but not really part of our lives. I never had a good male role model from which to think and plan what it is that I was going to teach my son. And this poem gave me comfort because it just put me in a position where I could have some sort of guidance, an idea of what a man should be like. But before even this poem, my son and I used to read books together. I decided that I wanted to give him the experience of Kipling, Rudyard Kipling's writings, with the Jungle Book. It was the first big boy, heavy-duty character development, strong life decisions and life lessons book that I had read with him. And we read it together, and at night, it was such a fun experience for both of us. I was always so excited to go through the next page and the next chapter, and he was also involved because he saw my excitement reading all the adventures. It was his first big boy book. We loved the lessons and the experiences that the characters were going through, and we often would stop reading just to discuss what was going on. He would see sometimes that I would get emotional about choices. There are very heavy-duty, mature life lessons to be learned, and he would see that those meant a little bit more to me than the book should. So we would stop and talk about it in a language that I felt was appropriate for a 6-year-old. But lessons were learned from the choices and expectations that were had of Mowgli and the other animal characters. These are memories that will stay in my heart forever. So I wanted to share with you the poem If. And if you have a boy or a grandchild who's a boy, it might be something you want to share with them. I'll tell you a little bit about Kipling. He was born in India, and his parents moved him to England during times of tribulation where people were rising up against imperialism. And Kipling is, and his writings are criticized for the imperialistic views, but that's all he knew. And I choose to ignore that. I choose to focus on his teachings of what to be a man should be like. So I want to read to you the poem, If. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about. Don't deal in lies. Or being hated. Don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap of fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. It's just such a touching poem, and hopefully lessons can be learned with it. Now, last year, when we thought that maybe possibly that would be a chance to go back to school, I purchased from the company brand Kipling. And I was familiar with them when I lived in Holland in the 2000s. The company has been around since I think 87, and it was created in Belgium, and it was inspired by the Jungle Book. The idea behind the brand is to make light, durable bags with this little crinkled nylon. And at that time, they used different colors. Throughout the years, they've made collaborations with several brands. I think currently they have one with Disney and Coca-Cola. And the cute thing about the bags is that they have a little monkey on each one to represent the monkey from the Jungle Book. So I bought my son his backpack. And this year, during a sale, I bought his lunch pack. But the bag is, I think, one of the bigger bags that I bought. It fits his computer, plenty of room for his lunch kit, and a sweater. It has places for his pencils. And it's just a cute setup. And I bought this cute little pencil bag for myself. I figured I deserved a Kipling bag for me to think of him while he's at school. And the idea behind the Kipling brand and my appreciation of it is the history behind it, my personal family history or story, as it may be. I want my son to make the association between these silly tools with adventure living life, life lessons, and hopefully, even if subconsciously, go back to that poem that I will be reading to him tonight before his first day of school. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll go back to our makeup reviews.